call, or plant bee pollination we call, and definitely we have to look at social condition, economic condition, culture, and natural heritage and legacy, and of course all our practices they must consider with the environment. That environmental integrity then has to be ensured. And when we are talking about the resources, so we have the big resource, 3.5% of the bee fodder that is the India is housing. India is a habitat of. And if we talk about the apis species, we are the house of habitat of 5 out of the 7 species and 8 of the tetragrulla species. So tetragrulla because these are also apids and they are considered because they are also storing a surplus honey. So these are also they also come in the category of honeybees. Yes, earlier we were having only the apis cerana as the native bee. That's a high bee I'm talking about, and most of the people from this very region they are aware that it has many problems, high swarming, absconding. You know that whereas in apis mellifera we do not have the absconding problem at all, and in hot place this cerana that's not thriving well and low flight range and it's not collecting the propolis, and because of that it is more prone to attack by wax moth. Of course wax moth also attacks the mellifera, but this problem is much lesser than in the apis cerana. And thigh-sac root virus we have already faced here in this species. So looking at all these problems, the scientists they have always been endeavoring that we should have some species which should be free from all these problems, and then the Punjab Agricultural University took the lead and successful PhD is a pioneer in the successful introduction, then multiplication, then establishment of this honeybee species in Punjab, first in Punjab, and later on it's released into the rest of the country starting with 1986. In 1976 it was released by the Punjab Agricultural University in the Punjab. And then there was no looking back. Now each and every farmer has almost this species that's there, because it's a more prolific so far as the honey production is concerned. So I'm not going to detail that. If you compare the mellifera and cerana, apis mellifera, on all that, on all the grounds that stands much superior whatever characters you take in majority of the characters, I would say. So now, out of the 5 honeybee species, the 4 which are we call that the traditional honeybee species. So they are present here in India. The 2 are the white ones and the 2 are the hive ones. So why I have been talking about one lectures on the products? Because that speaks of the scope of harvesting the products. So even we are ignoring the wild honeybee species, but even for the wild honeybees, you can't say that only you can collect only the honey. You have been collecting from the apis dorsata and apis florea, but there are other products. Wax we are taking. Then bee bread. That's another form. That's the refined form of the pollen. So that can also be harvested out of the wild honeybee species. So far as the bee products or the hive products are concerned, so all the 4 honeybee species they have the potential. So this speaks of the potential of harvesting the bee products in our area, particularly in India I'm talking about. But you are looking higher enough. Then if you go to the North America, South America, Europe, then Australia, then Africa, you will find only one species. We have got all the other 5 and 4 the traditional which are giving us the honey. And so for the other countries for selling our produce. And so the price situation that's fluid. You know that last year selling their produce only at 70. Now this year because of the increased demand has gone to 150 or 160. But this price situation, the kind of the fluid. So that puts the beekeeping in risk. Because the price, that's the level with the quality and origin, and there are many other geographical factors. So in order to enhance the profitability, and on those grounds I have been talking about price fluidity. So in order to ensuring the sustainability, so we need to move towards a diversification in agriculture. And when we are talking about diversification in agriculture, so there are the different components. One is the high products. So among the high products, there are 2 kinds of products you are aware. One is the real bee products and another are the plant products which are elaborated by the bees. Royal Jelly and bee venom, they are the bee products. Whereas the pollen and propolis, these are the plant products which are elaborated by the bees. And the pollination, that's also considered as, because very important component for the diversification. In the morning, Dr. Thakur had talked about that the beekeepers, they are renting out the colonies for the apple and pomegranate pollination, and are charging 1,000 to 1,300 rupees, 1,300 rupees per colony. So, but I will not be touching upon because a lot has been spoken in the morning session. So, beyond the honey, so for those people who are not from agriculture, just a bacterial kind of a thing. So, honey, then on the yes, beeswax, then we have this jelly, the royal jelly, and then propolis, then polar, and then bee venom. So when I'm talking about that, we couldn't develop the market, good market for the honey, but so you can't expect too much, even on the other high products. Reason being, there's no business. So I think many of those who are not from the beekeeping, even sitting in the hall, they might not have even earlier heard about this, the word of the propolis. Charging, that's a problem. So I will be coming to that. Okay, if you look at the, okay, let us, because in the morning it has been talked about that under the National Horticulture Mission or MIDH, that we have the scheme of promoting the beekeeping for the pollination sport. Okay, use promote it for the pollination. So at least the bee colonies, they will be coming, and the farmers, they will be having the colonies with them, and out of those colonies something can be expected of, and that will be adding to their profit. So okay, that's good. So in the morning we have been talking about that. Let us recognize it as a sweet revolution. So that was that it was long back that it was in '93 that it was recognized as an input for enhancing the crop productivity. So I will not be going into that. Yes, and of late it has been found out that the bees, particular insects, they are contributing to the tune of around 9% in boosting the agricultural economy. So yes, there are other angles too. The value addition and apitherapy. So they are the other dimensions in the diversification, but they can be also considered under the bee products because the value addition. So if we will have the bee products, the high products, then we can talk about the value addition. And apitherapy, we are getting the benefits we are going to realize even again from the high products, but I will not be touching upon this apitherapy. So I will restrict myself only to the high products. Yes, if we look at the prices, so these are the prices I have noted down from the net. So depending upon the quality and the quantity in which it is marketed, it's highly variable. So pollen being sold at even 7,000 rupees. I have the foreign currency values are converted into Indian rupees. So pollen at to the tune of 7,000 rupees per kg. Even beyond 9,000, nearly 10,000. Raw jelly, 22,000 rupees. And bee venom, 22,000 per gram. Beeswax, up to 1,600 rupees. And even queen bees. So queen bees, they are also, sometimes they are called as the high products. These are the, because they are the products which are produced out of the honeybee colonies, and these can be marketed. And that's what even the US people, they have been doing. And there is exclusive market for the sale of the queen bees. But now here even in India, the people have been resorting to this kind of a venture which has which offers a lot scope. Even for the Punjab beekeepers, I have been always been joking with kind of the thing that okay, you have the 7 lakh of the colony, so we are recommending that every queen has to be requeened every year. So you need 7 lakh these queen bees every year, and we are saying that you need to augment your stock by 25%. So it means another 1.75 lakh you need. So you need 8.75 lakh queen bees. So who is supplying? So that offers that speaks of the volume, or that speaks of the scope of the production of the pedigree queen bees. I would say the quality queen bees if we could produce, and those can be sold out. And yes, the bees. But I have not been touching upon these two. And renting colonies, so that's aligned with the for the pollination requirements. So morning it has been talked about. So I will be skipping. So yes, here for the northwestern region we have worked out. So these are the kind of conservative estimates that by good planning that we can harvest all these bee products, honey,
very easily we can have, with only 2 migration, very easily you can have harvest 50 kg and the beeswax up to 1 kg, because you know that whenever we are giving the sheet in the morning, I was looking at the slide from here, the host persons that they are selling the confirmation of 80 to 90 gram, otherwise in the market it's to the tune of 50 to 60 gram, and we know that after 1 year when the comb is made, and we can extract 120 gram of the beeswax out of one. So that way we have calculated that 1 kg of the wax, that is bees are producing whether you are harvesting or not. So pollen, so 25% of the pollen you can collect without harming the development of the, without impacting the development of the colony, without harming the brood. So up to 4 kg, that propolis up to 300 gram, royal jelly for the year 800 gram, and bee venom up. So that at one time you can collect the milligram and you can have at least 10 extractions. And the queen bees up to 200. I'm not going to tell that how these have been worked out, but the queen bees that I will not be in my subsequent slides, I will not be touching upon. So for the beeswax, now we have the big market, and we have the production technology and processing, and we have the large processors here in the northwestern part of the country, and they who are doing all that, they have the kind of a mechanized this wax processing that's going on. So I will be skipping that, and straight I come to the royal jelly, which is highly valuable and is great pharmacological product. So if you look at the technology, that is very simple. So in the previous slide I shared that only you need to, but how you can plan or how you can distribute your colonies for the various high products. At one go you can have all these products. So only the 5% of the colonies you need to, because of 5 the best one. So you will be selecting out for the queen ring. And 5%, so instead of taking the 5%, you can take 10%, 5% for the production of pedigree queen bees and 5% for the royal jelly production. So very simple technology. So that is halfway you have to harvest the royal jelly in the process of the queen production after 72 hours. So you can milk it off, and we have the technology, our own indigenous technology for its extraction. So imported royal jelly aspirators, you know that the royal jelly aspirator that is commonly run on the electricity, but here we are having our own indigenous, which is very cheap, costing not more than 500 rupees. That is based on this vacuum pump. So this pump, so that is not costing even 500 rupees, and the glass pump that is available only for rupees 200. But here we have, because that is again breakable, but using this Edward pump. Yeah, this is the Edward pump. So which has a venturi, and this works on the Bernoulli's principle. So but this is very simple technology, and within 10 can be extracted only in 3 minutes. So this is the good detail, diagrammatic detail, and we have published it. And yes, about its post-harvest handling. If we say that primary production, okay, we have the technology. Primary processing, to some extent we have the technology. So just collecting it and storing raw under the refrigerator conditions in some amber plates and at some dark places. But beyond that, that's it. I will come into the yes, coming to the properties, their benefits. So it is not that it's a kind of a random kind of a things that this product has this kind of the miraculous kind of the benefits. No, it has been pharmacological proven, and this is the list that is given over here. So that has been given by the FAO based on the pharmacological studies. So this has been compiled by the FAO that for the various kind of the ailments, so how it is to be administered and what has to be the kind of the dose. So even for the premature babies and those with the nutritional deficiencies, then even for the elderly people who have anorexia, with the BP problem, psychiatric problems, chronic tuberculosis as a stimulant, and for the bone healing, that's by injecting into the blisters. So the doses they have been given. So these are the kind of the pharmacologically proven kind. So skipping over, going, because I told you that because I will not be touching much upon the this technology, this production methodology, because our guest speaker, so in the next to me, he will be sharing the kind of the things in detail. So coming to the next, that's the propolis collection. Then again, that's very easy. Primary production, that's not easier. What you will have to do is that you will have to simulate the colony with the kind of this exploiting the behavior of the bees to give them the kind of the perforation in the colonies, and they would be plugging all those perforations. So what we do is that 10 to 15 mesh nylon net that is given either on the on the lawn on the inside of the lawn plants of the high walls or on the underneath the inner cover on the top bars. But we have to ensure that practically that if some kind of splinters they are kept between the brood chamber and the inner cover, so that facilitates the better aeration and the light that hastens the process of the propolis collection. And yes, sometimes the beekeepers now they have been collecting, and what we have seen that why I have given the kind of the caution in the last my last line that the one which is collected through the by scrapping, because when you are scrapping, so even the wooden splinters they come along. So one which is harvesting through the screens, propolizing screens, and the other which is coming through the scrapping. So these have to be maintained separately. Yes. So generally when we talk about with the scientists who are dealing this propolis, that there are three kinds of propolis which we talk about: the brown one and the green one and the red one. And the brown which is coming from the populous one, I am afraid that white is known as the temperate or more here. So, but here in India, India is not a temperate; it is a subtropical country, and we are having the poplar, and we have seen the bees visiting the poplar and collecting the propolis out of it. Yes, of course, the green and the red we do not have here. These are the kind of the plant sources which are not available here in India. But we know that brown is regarded as the best. Okay, what is required is its profiling and quality analysis. That is required. So we might be having the kind of the best kind of the propolis here in India, and that offers the scope of this very product. Yes. So this is how the technology has been shown that. But what has been done is that propolis secrete that will fix on the inner side of the inner cover, and after it is filled, then it is taken out and kept under refrigerated condition overnight, and then it is woven and then bit by bit, because it becomes very hard beyond because even this threshold temperature that varies among us, these three kind of the proportions I have shared with you all. So the first one, that's a brown, so that then becomes a brittle at the temperature even less than 30 centimeters. So those kind of granules they can be collected, and that can be subjected to the further primary or secondary processing. So here that where we are having some handicaps in the technology. Yes, depending upon its certain characteristics, it has a different kind of uses. What are the various characteristics? So it is antibacterial, so it has found its use as deos, and the antiperspirants, as anti-dandruff and sebum equalizing agent. It has found its use in the shampoos and the hair lotions as antimicrobial and healing agent. It is found in the anti-acne syrups and the aftershave products, and then anti-irritant and antibacterial agent. So it has found its uses. That's the maximum uses here and use of the propolis here in India is that is the mouth rinses, toothpaste and gum paints, etc. And as a purifying agent in the cleansing creams and lotions and catching the free radicals. So that is. So next is the pollen. So pollen, you know that it's a male germplasm, male gamete the bees they have been collecting for feeding to the bees. That's it. That's the food of the bees. But the pollen. So pollen can very easily be collected. So there are various models of the pollen traps. So if you need the 100%, so what we are recommending is that the pollen detaching strip should have the hole of 4.5 mm, and so if you have the hole a little larger, 4.75 mm, so that would restrict the entry to the tune of 75 to 80% of the pollen. So depending on the kind of the strip, the size of the holes you are having in the pollen, this detaching strip, so you can then plan that how long you can afford the pollen trap to be installed, because the pollen is their food, and without food the bees they will not be able to survive. So some pollen has to be let in. So or we can make use of this pollen detaching strip, and what we do is that for 3 weeks for 1 week we are keeping it fixed. So that's what I shared in the in my previous slide. Sorry, that when we are saying that we have to collect for only 25% of. That means that you will have to plant that 3/4 of the pollen that is allowed, and then even then we have the potential of harvesting 4 kg. Yes, because it attracts the ants, so you need to use the ant burst when you are fixing the pollen traps in front of your colonies. And then it has to be either dried up and stored, or you can store it as such under air-tight conditions under the refrigerator. But beyond that, again, handicap. Yes, pollen uses, they are numerous. Again, these are not random. These are pharmacological proven. I have taken up only those beneficial in cure of the prostatitis and the chronic pelvic pain syndrome. So I have given the reason. The pharmacological mode of action that is also given. And it also increases the protection against the X-rays, against the hay fever, cure some of the cancers and ulcers because of its atosis kind of the characteristics. Increase the stamina of the players and athletes, normally fed in the Western countries in the building, this bodybuilding houses, good against cold and infections. Date palm pollen that is used to treat and cure the sterility in the human because it enhances the testosterone production. Also the two kind of the hormones, FSH and luteinizing hormones. And it is also fed to the various kinds of animals for their growth and for their strength. Yes, bee venom, that probably to the layman it would just appear that it's very tough to collect the leaf. So bee venom, how the bee venom can be collected? So there are the technologies. So that's it called as the electroshock technology center. That the bees they are put under the bite kind of the electrostatic currents, and bees feeling that current they come to sting on some surface. But you know that when the bees they are stinging, they will be break their sting, and the stinger is broken in the tissue, and when they are flying off without stinger, with some of the anatomical parts they are broken, so they die. But here we can't afford for the bees to die. So the technology is that the sting that remains intact, only the venom is deposited. So regarding the uses, short treatment for the rheumatoid arthritis when this is the for this kind of the ailment we do not have here the treatment under the allopathy. So it is anti-inflammatory. It has the stimulatory effect on the heart muscles, controls the cholesterol and lowers the BP, reduces the hypersensitivity to the bee stings, and is the material for the enzyme that is a phospholipase. A2, you know that the phospholipase B1 is the what we call the snake poison. But it is different. Yes, I will not be going into detail, but for each of these effects which I have shown, so there are some certain scientific bases, and if you want, you can discuss it. So, how it is curing the rheumatoid arthritis or edema? Because it is a action of the pro-inflammatory substances, and it also inhibits the formation of the rheumatoid synovial cells. And melatonin, which is the important component, 45 to 55% of the protein present here in the bee venom. So that blocks inflammatory genes. And melatonin reduces the inflammatory by inhibiting the critical DNA binding activity of the NFKB, which controls a number of the genes involved in the nature of this immune reactions. And regarding the stimulating effect, because it is APA being present in the bee venom, so it blocks the calcium dependent potassium channels, blocks the naturally occurring slow action potential in the heart. It also blocks the isoprene induced slow APs without affecting the membrane potential. And doesn't affect your ECG. Some are saying that okay, my heartbeat that has started. I have to start of the when I am stung. I get some kind of the permission effects. No, but it has been seen that it doesn't affect the ECG at all. Doesn't in any way harm your heart. And this treatment enhances the tension muscles in response to the beta adrenergic this stimulation and improves the inotropic tonic itself. And yes, after that, value-added products. And This is the kind of the dimension of this agriculture which has been ignored a lot. So whatever the products which we are getting, they are coming from the random kind of the R&D by the beekeepers themselves or from the industry, big industry. But it's not, nothing is coming out of, there is nothing institutionalized research. Of course, at some places, wherever they have the facility of some kind of a collaboration, because our this all those people who are concerned with agriculture, they have the income on this, and their job that ends up to their job is only up to the production level, and after that, so there is no coordinated kind of the activity at national level. And sometimes our agriculturists are working in the agri, so they are having the kind of collaborations or under some projects, so they are bringing out the projects. So we have brought out these 7 products here at the PAU in collaboration with the food science and technology people and 2 other processes. So yes, honey groundnut cookies, then honey based groundnut muffins, honey lemon ginger drink, honey cereal health bar. So these are the products which are already out. And the 2 products which are in process, honey incorporated soy yogurt, these are soy yogurt, not yogurt, and honey incorporated product supply. Yes, I think so. This is a different dimension. So sometimes it is made a component of the high products, but to speaking that it does not come out of the high products. Of course, that the high products they are made use, they are best made use for the various kind of getting the kind of the soothing or the beneficial health effects. So because it also makes use of it, beyond the bee products, it also makes use of the acupuncture, and it takes into account all the natural factors of the bee activities and the berries to get us to provide us the best kind of the health effects. So we have been talking about the various kinds of products. Yes, we read in the beginning. I talked about when I talked about the Apis dorsata and Apis florea. Yes, so that is a partially digested kind of the pollen. That's the ability of the bees inside the colony, so that can also be harvested and that be learned, which is called as a buttermilk of the drone. So drones they are churned off and they break, and we are rushing off to the royal jelly. So drone ki lassi. So which is becoming very popular there in the Hungary and Slovenia. And bee venom I have already spoken. Yeah, these are the kind of the bee. This is the bee venom is the product which has the maximum kind of the effects which have been proven, and even the MCD peptide which is present in it, and the phospholipids A2 and the meditin. So these are the active components which are giving us the beneficial effects. And regarding its uses, so it can be put into the uses in the various ways, in so many kind of the ways. Punching with the whole of the bees, and there are that various techniques. जिसको हम पद्धति कहते हैं, medical पद्धति, Yorish technique, then Kusmina technique. So these are the different techniques that you go to those people and they will catch the bee and they will make you to sting with those bees like bees, and that will also be giving you a kind of the acupuncture effect as well. So the 2 effects, the toxic effect and as well as this acupuncture effect. So even I have listed that. So then is micropuncture with the BB stinger, then injections even with the pure and style bee venom, then ointments, creams, pills, drops. So they by the industry people, homeopathic preparations of photophoresis, that's getting it absorbed through our skin with the help of the ultrasound treatment, so that you don't need to inject it; it will automatically go into your skin. Even my friend Jagdeep is there. He has the experience of getting the massage of the bee venom. He's sitting there. Yes, even people have gone advanced. Botox. Our celebrities is there rushing after the various kind of this botox, getting their skin rejuvenated through the botox. And the bee venom has been proven to have the botox effects through stimulating the production of the collagen and elastin. And bee venom, even the FAO has reported that it is a treatment for the 48 disorders. And honey massage, honey, in the beginning I started with, I have left because so many kind of effects, those are known. So I want to tell you something different. Honey massage, I think some people must have already experienced or listened. But you see the kind of the beneficial effects which have been listed for the honey massage, weight reduction, removing the pathogens, salts and toxins. Even one of the friend of the Dr. Beekeeping sitting here. So our president of the Progressive Beekeeping Association, Mr. Sirajit Sidran from the Rajpura. So he had the experience and he started this business. So relaxing system, improving the blood circulation and metabolism, improving the lymphatic flow, drainage of the toxins and excess of the fluids, cleaning, moisturizing and nourishing the skin, then breaking down the cellulites, then removing the, keeping you free from the intellectual and physical tiredness, cleaning the body, increasing the immunity, then soothing and rejuvenating effects, eliminating the facial acne problems, removing the dry and itchy skin. So these are the kind of the effects. These can be realized through the massage, but the massage is not that easy. That's very difficult and very painful. Because you have to make the honey absorb into your skin. And when you are rubbing, what happens? That you get the kind of the threads made out of these wax. And pudding becomes so tight. And you keep rubbing. It's painful as well. But finally you are going to get these effects. And yes, beetroot, that's another effect. That's another product. Why can't it be considered product? Then we can eat the chicken and the pork and mutton and these kind of things. These are the very healthy kind of things, which are not going outside and they are inside. So it depends. I can't compare you. I just in the website. But it depends on the taste. Because when a Chinese pork, one does not have a kind of taste when it starts eating, then one develops a taste. So beetroot, that's very source of the very protein, fats, vitamins and minerals. So in some of the countries, so that is taken as a delicacy. And of course the beetroot has, and particular drone root, what is the cob is taken, that's very easy to harvest. Cob is taken and put under the water and then the drone root, that the larvae or the beekeeping, how to get the beekeeping, that the cappings, they are removed with the help of the capping knife. And all these larvae and pre-pupae which are floating over, they are collected and then they are fried and used. So this is how these are fried. And it can be taken as a delicacy. Upar chaat with with a tea. Evening tea. Yes, and here it is a fried. Here you can see the duck. So this is nicely fried with the garlic. Then on the right side, it's a boiled and see white. Larvae ke pakode. Yeah. Fried with the float here. Any kind of float? Yes. So these are the kind of the delicacies. When I think I am talking about the happy learning, so this is becoming popular like anything. So happy learning, Ron ki lassi. You can try, okay. So now coming to the kind of the scope or potential, or you can say the subtract. So in the morning, that Thakur spoke about that we have a large areas, 55 million hectares of the people areas, wide geographical area, wide climatic conditions here in the country, big country, vast country, with the wide weather conditions. Here we are having on the northwestern 5 seasons, 5 weather kind of different kind of weather conditions. In the south, we have the moderate kind of the climatic conditions. Then we have the temperate kind of the climatic conditions. So at one or other place, so some bee flora is available. There is that this wide variation that offers the scope of the beekeeping. And if the beekeeping can be practiced, of course, then we can harvest. Only then we can think of harvesting the bee product. So I am linking it because it's definitely the beekeeping and we can then harvest of various kind of the products. Vital bee resources, species in my breeding slides I talked about 4 out of the 5 species, out of the 7 species, 5 out of the 7 species we are having. And tetragrammatic species, these are also we have 5 bee resources. And also bee flora, example 750. But temporal and spatial variation, it is such a big country that at one or the other time, the same flora that would be available at one place because of the kind of the climatic condition may not be available at the other conditions, on the other conditions, or at the two places even, so we may have the variation. So this way, for the year, the floral entity is almost available. So state-wise, free outreach. That's a good thing. You go to Europe or to other countries. I have been to the Europe. I had been getting some training. I had to give a lot of chunk of money, and he was with me, and he was also at how much money he gave for the training. But here everything is free here in India, so that's a good thing. That beekeepers they can approach like the IPDC here, Kurukshetra, or any SAU or the ICR institutes which are having the strength of the agriculture and can get the free training. Here these are available most of the free. So that's a good thing. And sport, central sports are there, state sports are there, subsidies are there to start anything. Yes, you want to buy the equipment for harvesting these products. So 40% of the subsidy that is available in the MIDHS scheme to the tune of 40,000 rupees. Okay. Then high production, primary production. I again stick to my words. Those technologies they are available. Production and harvesting, you have come to know, quite simpler and affordable. Demand, there's a building up. Awareness is coming. Okay, good thing. And the world is now moving towards has moved towards digital and IoT kind of things. And approaching other countries and the customers and the clients that have come much easier than the previous generation when we have the so that also scope. And if you wish to for the greener pastures, so definitely you will have to diversify for that, and for that high products, that's the best thing. Okay, you can go for the anti-threat. You can go for any other kind of a thing. Yes, you can rent out the colony for the pollination. And what are the barriers? Or I would say the weaknesses you would say. So India is not grabbed as a market for that products. Where? Because here we are always looking for the foreign countries for the production and then for selling our products off. We are never approaching our local because the local they are not having the kind of awareness to the level of the awareness that's lacking. So consumers they lack awareness. Nobody knows who is the propolis. And you will have to explain each and everything. Royal jelly, okay, it's a royal jelly. So here all of these are beekeepers. Where we are addressing to the consumers. We are always talking to the beekeepers who always know all these kind of things. We are always teaching the beekeepers that this is the pollen, this is the propolis, this is the jelly. Are we addressing to the consumer somehow? So some institutionalized or some state or national funding, some kind of the schemes to promote the market of these kind of products or to create the awareness. This is what is there in the European country, and we had with the deep thing we had prepared that proposal and we submitted to the government of Punjab, but that couldn't took off because of some reasons. And we worked a lot at what we done. So we are looking for market because we don't have awareness from some institutional market and export oriented knowledge and support that is missing from the agriculture production. I am the entomologist. I can tell you only after production. And beyond that, post-harvest handling. Okay, say primary processing. We come to the primary processing. Okay, say prepare propolis. I say, okay, purify your propolis. What kind of a solvent has to be used? What percentage of the solvent has to be used? I say, okay, royal jelly. You lyophilize the royal jelly. How to lyophilize? Which model is to be used? Which kind of the technology is to be used? Okay, you talk about anything. Or even the pollen. I say, okay, you try the pollen. You would ask me that which kind of dryer and what is the temperature. Yeah. So the kind of the condition. So post-harvest handling and our primary processing, the secondary processing is far off. So these are the kind of barriers. Now we need to think of these lines if we want to see the beekeeping progressing. So post-harvest handling, so institutionalized development of the technology for value-added products and their dissemination. So
So what is way forward? So if we have to see the bee products streamlining into this market channel, so we need to have the 360-degree overview of any market. And enriching the stakeholders with a sound knowledge of the anti-commodity trade. So relevance that can very well be understood in the backdrop of economy, the global phenomena. And we are saying that India is emerging as a major player in the global agricultural landscape. Why not? We are the second largest honey producer. Second largest with the 1,25,000 tons of the honey after the China. See the statistics. Second. So, if we are producing to that extent, so now we'll have to think beyond. So generation, then cost. So products, generation and availability of the qualified and skilled agricultural stakeholders and tailored food. So that is required for the Indian agriculture continue to change and for costly because to exploit the country's vast potential. So what is required as higher education and skill